Alright, welcome back everyone. Today we have all our sub-assemblies from our 4L80 laid out onto the table. We've got our valve body, our pump, our overrun drum, our forward drum, our direct drum, and then I have the rear planetary and output shaft assembly because I'd like to show how to take that one apart as well. But we're going to start with our valve body. We're going to pull our accumulator pack off, and that is an 8mm. Here's our accumulator pack. And here's our springs. Now these are different lengths. It's important to note which way they go, or which accumulator they go to. Then we can pull our separator plate and gaskets off. And you'll note, if you're ever confused or unable to tell which way it goes, it's marked valve body, and it should be marked case on this side as well. Yeah, transmission case right there, TC. And then we have just the core parts of our valve body left. Just getting a little more fluid out. This is our manual valve. We could knock this roll pin out and pull the rest of it out. Then we have our shift solenoids, shift solenoid A and B, and they're held on by a Torx bit. So let's grab that, and that's a T27. And then we just pull these out. Can pull out our EPC solenoid. And then we can pull out this clip. We didn't send that one across the shop. We can pull out our torque converter clutch solenoid. There we are. Now there's a series of plungers and springs in here that those solenoids actuate, and they're held in by roll pins. We can get this one out. There, we can get that valve out. Oh, we just figured it out. Look at that. Yeah, there you some. Fortunately, all these pins are the same length and diameter, so they're all interchangeable. So with that roll pin out, we can pull out the TCC valve and set that aside. We can pull out this screen, which I just put a hole in, but that's okay. It's be replaced anyway. Let's carry on with this. Okay, we got that roll pin out. Now we can pull out this valve. Slowly working it out. There's a check ball in there, so we won't lose that. Get this other half out. Pretty small and intricate. shift solenoid B valve. Roll pin's located right here. And out it comes. It's under spring tension. Let's get the spring out. Here's our shift solenoid B. I want to lay all this out all nicely. Now we'll get shift solenoid A out. Just like so. And its spring. We have a spring left in here that I've forgotten. And there's a valve in here. It requires us to pull out. Just like so. We caught that spring. And here's the valve. And that is all except this one. That one we're not going to pull out. So let's move on to our accumulator pack. So we've got our two springs. Kind of an easy way to remember it is the one with the long barrel has the long spring. We'll pull our clip off here. So there's our fully disassembled accumulator body with our two springs and our disassembled valve body. Pulled all the individual valves out, our B solenoid, our A solenoid, our manual valve, our torque converter, clutch solenoid, and our EPC solenoid as well. So when we get into our rebuild video, we'll re-steel these. I'm going to wrap and bag up all these parts and then I'll come back. Okay, and moving forward, we have our pump. We're going to pull our 5 13mm pump bolts out. Okay, it's real shiny and hard to see. We'll pull our pump gear out. No real signs of wear or damage in here. Let's wipe it off. No real signs of wear on neither the pump gear, on neither of the pump gears, sorry. That's still nice and flat. My pick doesn't catch any ridges. And we'll do the same on this half of the pump body. Hardly catches anything there. Wouldn't even say it does. It's still nice and smooth. But this guy can be cleaned up. Definitely needs it. I mean, look at all that. Is that like dust or diesel soot from the... I don't know how diesel soot would have worked its way into the bell housing of a transmission. But this transmission was behind a 6.5. Then we have the valves within the pump here. 3. Or rather within the stator. Okay, so I've come back and I've labeled everything. So this is our TCC valve in here. This is our TCC enable valve in here. Our converter limit valve. Our pressure regulator valve. And our reverse boost valve. All in one go there. So we're going to pull these valves out and we'll lay them out, and then that'll be everything to do with our pump here. So we'll start with our TCC valve. We've got a small snap ring in there. We don't even need to pull that. our TCC valve is out. Let's pull our pressure regulator valve next. Knock out its roll pin. And our snap spring down here. Took way longer than it needed to. So there's our reverse boost valve. And here's our pressure regulator valve. Just gotta carefully work it out here. There's the end cap for it. So we really got a couple left here. And that's our converter limit valve. This one just wants to come out, which is nice. There's our converter limit valve. And now, behind this big roll pin is our TCC enable valve. There's a spring in there. We don't want that spring to go flying. So that's why I'm using my little punch. Oh, it didn't want to come out. No complaints from me. It's harder to lose parts. And here is our limit valve for our torque converter clutch. Once we get her out, binding up on the bore in there. And there we go. And here we have an empty pump body. Well, I suppose not. Because if you want to get technical about it, there's a bushing here we have to remove when we rebuild the transmission. And there is sealing washers here and here. However, and a bushing here for our input shaft. But other than those mentioned parts, we have an empty pump body, which can be cleaned, put back together, and reused. Let's clean up this guy. Okay, so we're back at it. Now we're looking at our overrun clutches, and unfortunately my sprag here decided to throw its parts everywhere. And the actual cage itself, So there is our sprag. So now we'll get in here with our, and we'll pull this snap ring out. There we are. There's our overrun snap ring. And then out come our overrun clutches. Which all look good. And then down here is the spring cage and the apply piston. And for that, we're going to get creative. Normally you do this properly, not with clamps, because we have to compress our cage in order to pull out our snap ring. And then we slowly let our clamps off. And then we'll be able to pull out our spring cage. There we go. Overrun spring cage and apply piston. Then we have an empty drum here. So at this point you pop your bushings out, put new ones in. So that one there is showing signs of wear. So this bushing would need to be replaced. And so would that one. You can kind of see a groove in there. That is an overrun drum. Let's get to our forward drum here. Pull our snap ring out. Pull out our hub. Had a friction go with it. Here we have our wave plate. That provides our spring tension. And then we have our clutches and steels in our forward drum. Look absolutely mint. Lots of material left on them, no hot spots. Those all look really good. And so just like before, we're going to compress this forward drum, spring cage, and pull out our apply piston for our forward drum. Professional guys are probably laughing at me, but if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. I know it's hard to see because of the glare, but the snap ring in there is what we're trying to get out, because it will get in here the appropriate angle that I want. Grab the tool, it's right in front of my eyes. Slowly let off the clamps. There we are. And exactly the same as our other drum, have our spring cage and our piston. There's a seal in here as well, and that is an empty forward drum as well. No bushings in this one. Oh, I lied. Bushing up in here. Well, this is our bearing. Ooh, which looks to have gotten a little warm. You can see some bluing in there, which is interesting. Okay. Direct drum here. It's our band and our snap ring. That was done in our case. We have another spray clutch in here. Now our direct drum needs to be in the same condition as the rest of it. I'm surprised. There is no signs of water infiltration. If you remember, this transmission sat in water. No real signs of anything anywhere. Alright, let's do the same thing we just did. This is the last time we'll have to do it. Eventually I'd like the proper press for this, but we'll get there. I like doing it with not fancy tools too. Reminds everyone you don't have to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment to do one of these transmissions. Pull our ring out. Slowly let our clamps off. There we are. And just like our other ones, we pull out our spring cage and our piston. And all our seals here look to be nice and malleable, but we'll probably go ahead and replace them. There's our direct drum. So we've gone through the majority of our sub-assemblies now. Alright, so we're on our last sub-assembly now. And I don't know if you'd necessarily call this a sub-assembly, but I wanted to show it anyway. This is our rear planetary set, our output shaft here, and our intermediate shaft here. And we're going to take this apart. So we have a snap ring right here on the output shaft side of it. Now we can come along. Just like that. Our rear planet comes off. There's our bearing. Rest of it's right here. And our output shaft comes off. We have another bearing here. There's a bushing in there we'll replace. There's our output shaft, and at this point you would swap out your different length output shafts for different applications. We'll take our bearings and we'll set them aside. And then we have another snap ring here that holds our ring gear to our intermediate shaft. Oh, we almost had it that time. There we go. And then we can slide out our intermediate shaft from our ring gear. And then that is our final sub-assembly, all finished. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap all this up, throw it in our tote for later. If you enjoy this content, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, it helps the channel grow. We post pretty regularly, so once again, thank you very much for watching.